And I'm like, bro, I'm Steve. How I ain't gonna meet with, I'm the new Steve. How I'm not gonna meet with Tim Cook? Bro, you was employed to Steve. I'm Steve. So, and of this music game, I am, but not under Lucian. You're saying I done invented every style of music of the past 20 years. I created the genre. I created weekend genre, Trav, Drake. You know, I'm going ahead and say, with all love, Future and Thug also, because the auto-tune album. 808s, if you think about it, no one think about it. Everybody think about Trav, Weekend, and Drake, but no one thinks about Future and Thug also, auto-tune album. Now, everyone, they added what it was to it, but here's a new genre. It's called making your own money genre. And this music is called, like, take that middleman out, because they ain't giving us money, they giving us acknowledgement. I don't want your acknowledgement. And I went so far past any level of acknowledgement. I was banished, I was exiled, I was canceled multiple times.
Perception, what does Vultures mean to Ye and to Ty Dolla $ign?
Shit, Vultures is us as a group. It's the #1 album in the world. Number one album in the world. #1 single. We've been talking about doing the album for a long time. And last year I went by his birthday party, and we talked about just getting in the studio. And I went out to Japan. I had a show out there. He was out there at the same time. I came at him like, yo, I want you to executive produce my album. We ended up doing the song that we got called Burn. And it was like, fuck it, let's just do the whole thing, you know?
But you know,
now
when
we're here.
you get that in crossing where, and not that a lot of artists say that to each other, oh, we need to work together, we need to work together. You get those kind of things.
Yeah.
But you guys are no strangers with working with each other anyway when it comes to Ye and Ty Dolla $ign. When you think about a body of music, they're not just one body of music, that you guys could create so much together that y'all can say, we're not just doing one, we're not just doing two, we're doing three.
Yeah.
So when you guys come together and you say, I want you to executive produce the album, or y'all really think we could put something together, at the moment, Ye, how realistic is that to you with how busy the world is? We think we want to see something, but we don't know if we're really going to see it. How did that come across to you when you say, you know what, let's stop the world and let's work on this?
You know, Ty made it where I was able to make music because he just didn't bring none of the music industry bullshit to the table. It's just a lot of, sometimes I feel like people get into music because they don't want to have to actually work. Like even when we did Donda, I had people show up at 8 a.m. because I thought like when people are in the league, they gotta show up. They gotta work no matter how famous they are, no matter how much money they get. But music is something where, you know, we'll be working at 3 a.m. or sleeping in, and you know, I got to a point where I was, you know, recalibrating my whole life, frustrated with a lot of the positions I had been in, and you know, my focus over the past year and a half was the music and then the clothing, mostly the shoes. So I put everything I had left into both of those, in both of those channels, and they end up supporting each other at the same time. But Ty, you know, even like how like Mike Dean didn't work on this project. Mike Dean was the kind of person that you could hand him something and he'll hand you a finished product back that you could decide, I like this, I like that. That's like how Ty, you can give him something, even like just a murmur of something. He could bring it back with the words. He can fix all the notes on it. He could bring the you know, the drums, the music. But more than anything on this project, you know, he brought himself as someone who stood beside me when a million people told him to not stand beside me. And he also brought hit records. Like, you know, people, we had a joke like, oh man, this is Jay's first #1 hit in 17 years. And this is Ty's first #1 hit in 2 years.
Right. But we've seen a lot of really a lot of #1s for other artists when it comes to Vultures. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, Ty, if you hear what we say on air, but I don't think people understand how talented you are and how you can get in there and pretty much do everything in the studio with your eyes closed, and you know what I'm saying, and bring in an orchestra, and we think that it's just one sound, but you're really orchestrating this musical ensemble and working hard, and people don't get a chance to really see that. We hear it, but we don't know what goes into it.
So you better ask somebody.
Yeah, and if you don't ask, sometimes you got to tell people what you're doing and how great you do the things that you do. Because sometimes it sounds so not simple, but so beautiful to us that we don't understand what goes into it. You know what I'm saying? The blood, sweat, and the real tears that go into making a project such as this.
And the anointing, his, like you said, talent is like on some Prince. Like he can do what other people can do, and other people can't do what he could do. Like I can't play instruments.
Right.
I can't halfway even sing. You know what
You do. You know what I'm saying?
That's called confidence. That's this is called delusion.
Hey man, but
You singing though.
yeah, and the thing about it, man, is not only do you sing, you'll get a whole crowd to sing with you. And the one thing that we do know is that when we hear you, we know it's you. You know what I'm saying? And there's a difference between, well, when you can put your own imprint into something and people know exactly what it is, then you have created something that's dear to us. You know, and so when we look at music, bro, when we say music is a soundtrack to our lives. My daughter is 15 years of age, right? This Vultures 1, and I told her, I said 2 is ridiculous, because I've heard 2. This is a soundtrack to her life. And there's decades between our births, but there's something in that music that brings us together. No matter how much clutter is going on outside, there's a safe zone or something that's in music that you, and especially what you guys created, and the people that y'all brought to the table, that I felt like, it's so cliche and easy to say, oh man, we were missing this, but we were missing this. Did you guys feel like, not that y'all filling in a void, but we needed this Vultures, or we needed this collaboration, and not egotistically?
Well, you said to not speak egotistically, so I'm not gonna talk.
Right? Well, speak egotistically.
We definitely needed it. And yeah, I could play all the instruments, I could put all the stuff together, but come, you know, in the studio with him, it was like taking it to a whole nother level, picking them parts. I'll come with a song, for instance, and the song will be fully done as far as I'm concerned. He come back, man, change that shit like 20 times.
Yeah, no, not
and like it go from like a dance music song to Back to Me. Like if you would have heard the first Back to Me, it was like completely different. He took my song, put it in the ASR 10, which is a keyboard with a sampler, slowed it down, rocked the sample like that. Then that was in Japan. Then we get to Italy, we play it again, we got some words to it. Then we going through some drums, he pick a whole different thing. I'm like thinking it's not it. All of a sudden it's crazy. So
yeah, it does get worse before it gets better. It's like when girls have like plastic surgery like that, when they get like the BBL, they gotta like drive in the car and like they kind of like
sit on pads, hurting each other.
No, they can't even sit on pad and stuff. They definitely can't get on Spirit. They gotta.
Yes, sir.
So it get that like that moment right there, but then waking up and she gorgeous. I'm like, you know, I would like tell Ty like a song like the BBL's almost ready.
Right.
It's almost ready for the summer.
Does he say that to you? Like, do y'all also not only compliment each other, can you tell each other what's not working? And can you put Ye back in the booth? And
sure.
Can Ye put you back in?
I tried to remove the cursing a bunch of times and he was like, I was like, oh, what do you think? At the last one, I'm like, what do you think we make this thing all clean? He's like,
No.
not this
What
one.
is the difference though when you hear, and music is like life, you know what I'm saying? And life, you're kind of like this, you know what I'm saying? And some people try to put you into a yesterday mode. You know, at one point, we hear, and this is all you. We hear, you know, Jesus is king. We hear this, but that's all you. Then there's sometimes you just want to say, man, not fuck it, but you just want to say, man, this is what I'm feeling right now. Are you in that space where you're comfortable enough to say, this is where I am right now? I'm still a man of God. Jesus still is king, but this is Vultures right now. This is where I am.
It is, but I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I didn't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. Like a lot of times I just feel like in our society in America, you know, people, Christians, we're depend on Jesus so much that we won't put the word in ourselves. And the main thing that really that I don't rock with is like, it's just always like, I'm gonna pray for you. And it's just like, you can actually physically do something yourself too, more than just pray. And we're so in this mentality that's all that needs to happen, but we ain't praying our way out of prison. We ain't praying our way out of the abortion clinics. We ain't praying our way to get our land back that was always ours after gentrification, after the Harlem Renaissance and Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. Them prayers ain't working. We have to apply actual physical building partnerships, and it don't start unless we could really be real with each other and say, this is what I did, this is what I did. Like, I mean, look at this. I know I'm not gonna third rail y'all interview, but look at the power of what happened when me and Kyrie was on the same page. See, that's what's scary. But what they do is they put us each in a silo and say, your grandmother gonna lose her crib, and this gonna, you know how many threats we've been dealt with? And I didn't pray my way through them threats either. I had to get up and do it myself. I had so much to do, I ain't had time to pray.
Not only are we talking about music, but we're three men here with families. We're three men here with obligations, responsibilities, and that is some of the stuff that we do supersedes our entertainment.
Yeah, like I had a responsibility to all the people that were stealing from me.
Speak on it.
Like, I'm responsible.
Family members,
Yeah.
all that. Gotta let it deal with the pain and keep going.
Is music where you are right now, Ye? Do you enjoy music where you are right now?
Yeah, I love the art of it. Man, there's songs like Do It. I love the song, and I hadn't loved a song like that at that tempo since Back That Thing Up. So that's what made me think. I was like, man, I love Juvenile and Manny Fresh and Cash Money. Like, this is like, they used to be playing like house music and hip hop music in the club, and like me and my guys would come in and make them play Cash Money. Whoa, Kimo Sabe, big ballin' is my hobby. Like, and like Juvenile, the Hob video, and just the 400 Degrees album, and you know, just leaning into things.
What was that?
I believe the music came across because I leaned into things that I like when I liked what I liked and shit. You know, whether it was like looking at pornography or listening to Juvenile or buying my first chain from Jacob or wherever I got it. And I had a real chain, but then I had like a fake rollie and fake earring, but I had to get the kit because the All-Star game was coming up. I couldn't go with just a chain.
We gotta have a costume. You know what I'm saying?
I had to and I had to get the Range Rover 4.0 and try to cover the O and make it a 6 because Jay-Z had like wiped that out. But all of these subjects, you know, I remember sitting with North in Italy and playing her Back to Me and asking her, you know, what do you think about this line in the middle of the song? And I was like, do you think I should change this? And she's like, you know, it's a good song. Sometimes I feel like my mom speaks through her.
Wow.
So I'm like, she's like, it's a good song. This is just a banger. Like, you gotta say what you feel. You know, a lot of times when you go into the whole Jesus, devout, Paul level, fell off a donkey level religious, you have thoughts in your mind and that you hiding them from yourself. And then you sitting there and the whole choir is fucking. Y'all sing about not fucking. The niggas are stealing from you from the church, and it's like, man, like I swear it's just you can only see what's immediately in front of you. Like when they say Delulu, it's like we lean on a lot of delusional concepts, and then it's just actual, real concepts. Like say, like a big topic right now is are we gonna sell the album? And the concept that the streaming companies have made a deal with the people that were in ownership of our contract and decided to give us, a percentage of a penny. Mm-hmm. And people aren't getting paid properly, and you got people that are fans saying, oh, I don't have the money for this, I don't have that. We used to just getting it for free, so they've lowered the value of what we do and what we make. Like our music, part of the reason why it's so much better is like, obviously you got super mega talents, but it costs a lot to make this album too. We was in Saudi, Italy, flights, car service, strippers, it was expensive.
That, the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like, how will the album go out? You know what I'm saying?
You mean the next ones?
Yeah.
We talked about like how a movie, like Dune, we went to go see Dune, and they'll keep that movie a month, 2 months before it goes to a Disney, streaming, Netflix, Hulu, or something like that. With our music, they acting like this ain't even luxury, like it don't deserve to have this moment where people who truly appreciate, the people come out to the theater, the people who, talk about every line and want to hear it and see the listening sessions, those early adopters, like it's just supposed to be like, just free. Like even like, here's an example. Somebody I was working with put the album for $5 on my site. Everyone know my site at Yeezy.com is $20 for everything.
Right.
Then my album, like this album costs millions of dollars to make, hardship, overcoming like personal threats to everyone that was on it. Like people was threatening our lives, threatening our well-being, and actually not even playing with the money, canceling bank accounts. I got cousins whose Chase accounts got fired. This is real Black Mirror things that happen. So when it went #1, I called different people I know, like, yo, do you think Universal was capping my last albums ever since the Taylor Swift moment? And no one could deny that was happening.
Like not showing real numbers and the power.
Just limiting, turn it down, turn that boy down. That boy that went on stage and said Beyonce had the best video, turn that down. All the Lights is like number 28. All the Lights. It's a runaway, Niggas in Paris was not a #1 record.
What do you think when people say that it can't happen?
What can't happen?
Like, oh, no, that's too big. That's a conspiracy. Like people, like what you're saying right now, there's probably somebody that think, nah, that can't happen. But it can happen.
For sure it can happen.
And it does happen.
And it
did happen.
My whole thing, it'd be in front of y'all face. That's what I like. When people drop this mental health shit, it makes it seem like, oh, it's like your family member that's seeing ghosts and y'all can't see it. What I love the most is y'all seen multiple ghosts. Y'all seen the ghost of, wow, they froze his accounts. Y'all seen the ghost of, wow, they're selling his shoes against his will with his name on it. Y'all seeing the ghost of, wow, that man went independent and went #1. These are a lot of like myths.
And then when the album came out, it's like they kept on taking it down, if you didn't notice.
Yeah.
And it went back up. And then it's like when Carnival's #1 on Spotify, #1 on Apple, #1 on everything, something else went #1 on Billboard, Yeah. And it took a while for that, but now we're #1 on everything. So
You can't deny it, bro. How do you not beat your brain up knowing that if you're working and then you feel like something's not right here. There's a machine that's trying to suppress or hold it down. Like, how does that feel? Not even just as an artist, bro, as a person that's like really putting music out there and really that's really talented. And when you hand something up to somebody, you did your work. Now it's up to these other services or somebody to pick up and put the same passion in as you.
I feel like you just
Is
gotta
that
figure
another
out-
reason to just say, man, straight to our fan base?
Yeah.
And you know, just look at I'm just talk billionaire math.
Oh, I'm gonna leave.
No, go ahead. You know, it's like billionaires, they just didn't accept the indoctrination from school that makes you overthink stuff. Stuff is right in front of you. I looked at the math. When I went to Adidas, they wasn't giving me a percentage at Nike. I went to Adidas, I looked at that math. Now I'm looking at just the conversion rates. Like we dropped the pods at $200 right before Christmas, and we got like 3,000 sales, and between the merch maybe made $1 million that one day on that website, which is low for the amount of sales and the audience that we had with the Yeezys. So then I always had this vision of doing everything $20. It's like my grandfather jumped through my body because he used to take me to the flea market when I was young, when I was lower than the table, and he had his house and he had his store across the lawn on the same property, and he had his Cadillac in the driveway, and he would go and teach me how to hustle and say, you know, and then go to stores in Chicago. You go to stores selling everything, some baby dolls, some toys, some fireworks, some other, like just whatever someone might need, like a Home Depot or QVC kind of thing. But it's his job as a merchant to do that. So it's like that merchant is inside of me. That's why I always think of all kind of products, from like house to shoes to the music, or like even when I was dealing with Balenciaga and Gap, there's times with the deal where it's just like grandfather just hopping through the phone, like speaking on my behalf, like what will my grandfather do in this situation? I got the head designer of Balenciaga doing Gap. So in this situation where, I mean, Apple, you know, I ain't never met with Tim Cook. They always send Larry Jackson or Eddie Q or Ebro to come talk to you and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I'm Steve. How I ain't gonna meet with, I'm the new Steve. How I'm not gonna meet with Tim Cook? You was employed to Steve. I'm Steve. So, and of this music game, I am, but not under Lucian. You're saying I done invented every style of music of the past 20 years. I created the genre. I created weekend genre, Trav, Drake. You know, I'm going to say with all, I am like, what will my grandfather do in this situation? I was dealing with Balenciaga and Gap. There's times with the deal where it's just like grandfather just hopping through the phone, like speaking on my behalf. Like, what will my grandfather do in this situation? I got the head designer of Balenciaga doing Gap. So in this situation where, I mean, Apple, you know, I ain't never met with Tim Cook. They always send Larry Jackson or Eddie Q or Ebro to come talk to you and stuff. And I'm like, bro, I'm Steve. How I ain't gonna meet with, I'm the new Steve. How I'm not gonna meet with Tim Cook? You was employed to Steve. I'm Steve. So, and of this music game, I am, but not under Lucian. You're saying I done invented every style of music of the past 20 years. I created the genre. I created weekend genre, Trav, Drake. You know, I'm going to say with all love, Future and Thug also, because the Auto-Tune album. 808s, if you think about it, no one think about it. Everybody think about Trav, Weekend, and Drake, but no one thinks about Future and Thug also, Auto-Tune album. Now, everyone, they added what it was to it, but here's a new genre. It's called making your own money genre. And this music is called, like, take that middleman out, because they ain't giving us money, they giving us acknowledgement. I don't want your acknowledgement. And I went so far past any level of acknowledgement. I was banished, I was exiled, I was canceled multiple times. So what, I done had like my kids that show up to Sunday service. I want to say something about the number one. What's so good is the fuck you of it. And for everybody that's working at a normal ass job, like a fast food restaurant, or somebody girlfriend that left them for some nigga with more money, or whatever the fuck it is, all nigga want to do is just like pull up in that, so they can pull it right in front of this bitch and be like, fuck you. Now I just pulled up on everybody from last year cancellation, like, fuck all you niggas, fuck you, fuck your mom, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Hey man, was that where the social media, I don't know if it was it a tweet that you had put up?
What's that?
With the fuck yous, was that like Is that what you're speaking on when you say, man, I was pulled this way, I was pulled this way, I was shut down, I was denied, and it feels good to inhale and just say, fuck you.
Yes,
fuck you. Fuck y'all.
That's what people don't know. That's the exhale.
Right.
The exhale ain't like, I would like to thank, I ain't thankful. It's fuck everyone about this bitch. Like, can't nobody tell me shit. La, 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 la.
Wait till and you got the money right.
You know what's so cool about that? Because niggas like Aiden Ross had to apologize. Nigga, I was like 2 months from bankruptcy, from like hundreds of millions of dollars, just getting like, from
wait till and you got the money right.
You know what's so cool about that? Because niggas like Aiden Ross had to apologize. Nigga, I was like 2 months from bankruptcy, from like hundreds of millions of dollars, just getting like, raped, Michael Jackson by like, you know, the people around, like how people was taking Mike's money, Michael Tyson, Michael Jackson, celebrities, Prince, whatever and shit. People, you got new employees, you got all that, and we cleaning all them employees up, doing industry standards, industry rates. Got my Shopify account right. Then said, boom, we're gonna do this $20. Then we did the Super Bowl, and the fact that I was able to show Michael Jackson, celebrity, like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wait till and you got the money right.
You know what's so cool about that? Because niggas like Aiden Ross had to apologize. Nigga, I was like 2 months.
I did not know like they had beef. I did not know he was gonna say this in this video. I had no intention of clicking on the Andrew Tate Aiden Ross stream. Isn't that crazy though? Like to actually just like, you know, like witness this like from a third person perspective, like yo, because I can sit and watch shit happen from a third person perspective. Because like, nigga, I did not intend to click on neither of these videos. It's wild. It's wild. It is wild, bro. Hey, me personally, like this is just internal dialogue, chat. Y'all niggas probably should not be hearing this right now. Y'all niggas probably think I'm insane, think I'm crazy, all type of shit. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like this is mind blowing, but it's not at the same time. It is beautiful. It's like it's such a beautiful existence. Like it's like life is beautiful, man. Like wow. I'm positive I'm gonna watch this video back in the future, bro. And I'm gonna be like, damn. Watch how I react to this. Yo, Hayes, what I say? What I say to it? What I say to it? What I say? Hey man, I'm too tapped in, chat. Like I'm too tapped in. Like listen, the past me, the present me, and the future me. We like this. We work with synchronicity. I know a lot of y'all niggas like this word is like too big for a lot of you niggas, but just know it's high level. It's something that's like it's peak. It's top performance. You know what I'm saying? When you can operate in synchronicity with your present self, past self, and future self. Come on, man. I'm different with it. Man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Yo, that's fire though. Like I'll fuck with this. I'll fuck with this heavy, man. I'll fuck with this shit, man.
Months from bankruptcy, from like just like raped, Michael Jackson by like you know, the people around, like how people was taking Mike's money, Michael Tyson, Michael Jackson, celebrities, Prince, whatever and shit. People, you got new employees, you got all that, and we cleaning all them employees up, doing industry standards, industry rates. Got my Shopify account right. Then said, boom, we're gonna do this $20. Then we did the Super Bowl, and the fact that I was able to show factual $19.3 million of sale in one day. The next day is 15 million. The next day was 11 million. But in one day, at the same time when the music was coming out, this was just us and the people at the end of the day. But even with the streams, it's like, on one end, you'd be like, it's like, stay away from the light, because, oh, we're #1. We had streams. How many niggas went #1 and never made $1 billion? Drake still ain't made $1 billion. This is as big as our Bad Bunny. They not gonna set that man Bad Bunny up to make $1 billion. They gonna give him the same pack that they gave Drake, that Lucian pack, whatever it is. Everybody that does music, maybe this is not a outside, but anyone in the music industry knows that Drake and Bad Bunny got that same, that push. We're gonna push this radio. We're gonna push this. We're gonna push that. And that pack was removed from me, ever since the Taylor Swift thing. So to hit this #1 is such a fuck you, and people need to understand how valuable it is to be able to tell people.
And you did that. Y'all did that for you.
What did what?
The music, everything, that's for you. And sometimes when something comes with it, like even with my situations, right, radio, so on and so forth, whatever I did to leave one and go to the other, it wasn't about elevating, it was about me doing my thing, and if a F you came with it, if a fuck you came with it came with it.
Man,
I wasn't out for it, but I was
that.
like,
I don't want him to lose his job, but fuck that nigga at the gate that asked you for an ID. You the face of this shit.
Right.
You the face of this building. Big boy, can I see your ID? I said, nigga, that's why I hate America.
right. Hey man, and when we pulled up, he was like, he asked you for your ID. I'm like,
he pulling you over like you a cop. Like every time a nigga had a nice car, nigga, what's the point of getting a car that go 160 miles per hour in Chicago when you got to drive even slower because they're gonna constantly pulling you over for being in the car? You know what I'm saying? That's where we are, 2024 today. Now take this interview, as always, play this shit in 2034 and see was this shit factual.
hey man, we sat down at one of your spots. And I showed you a video, and I said, yeah, I said, I think this was from 10 years ago. And we were watching it live, and it was you talking about where you were going to be in 10 years from now, Jesus is King, and we're sitting there literally in that area, what you were talking about 10 years later. It was exactly what you said 10 years before.
Listen to me, bro. Even if I thought that shit sounded crazy as fuck, he made that shit happen. I remember it was like a couple New Year's ago. He called me like early in the morning, like, yo, we need to sing for God. We need to, start a whole da-da-da. Then the whole, Sunday service thing happened, and he was building these big ass domes in the backyard. Where you walking in, you go like this, and you're like crazy shit, just whatever comes to mind. Even like the stem player, like.
That's one of those STEM players, we got close. People be like, yo, this is like down to 2, and he gonna do this. It's like 3rd time's a charm. Like we did Workout Plan, Up Tempo. Then we did Addiction, 2nd album, Up Tempo. Then 3rd time's a charm, my biggest album of my career, is that never let nobody psych you out, man. Title's still up and running at the end of the day. Like when a black man came and said, I'm gonna do my own streaming network, I never seen Jay-Z so-called take a public L until he did that. Until he stepped out and said, this is what I'm gonna do now. They putting up like 80% of the fans won't buy the album. Are you sure? It's $20. I got 20 million Instagram followers, and that's cap. It's like niggas walking around with 500 million. They ain't that much more famous than me. But if you just take the conversion rate, 5% of that 20 million would be 1 million records. Think about this. They be having, I don't play wax. No knock to the fans. It's beautiful to do, got the fuck Adidas record and everything, but I don't play records. I don't play CDs. So we be spending half our time as artists, focus on the music, the other half trying to do the Trav and Taylor Swift numbers. What amount of work, and then Adele or whoever, they got a hand in the album this much early, and it's all for the accolades. The numbers is not really adding up to real financial numbers, and it's not converting really the amount of fans they have. So say I get a 5% conversion rate on my Instagram followers, what's that gonna mean to Taylor Swift or somebody? What's that gonna mean to people with like 500 million in Instagram followers? You know what I'm saying? They try to pit me against Taylor Swift, me against whoever in the music industry, and it's like, yeah, get that man talking back and forth on the phone with Dave Chappelle. Get that man like making songs, sub songs to Drake. Get that man, say Taylor Swift kicked him out or Shaq said this and that. I'm just like, man, I'm here for everybody in this lifetime. I feel like a lot of the shit that like the you-know-who's do with our contracts and shit just come from fear of losing control. And mugs just don't play fair. They put information in there, they pay off the lawyers, and they put you in a situation where you ain't gonna make no money from it. But now you got TikTok, you got streaming. Everyone's afraid of how they gonna still support their families.
Right.
And there's some kind of like simpler way through honesty, which is hard, but engineering to make, you know, people say you can't make everybody happy, but I've seen situations where a song makes everybody happy. I've seen, you know, water pipe, like LA, they got the LA river closed off and shit. That's the first thing. That's the first, open up the river. But everybody here with a show of hands, it's like, wasn't there a time when we didn't have water? Then we got too much water? Then we have water. Like, it's like, but yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Ty, when kind of putting in reverse and rewinding what Ye just said about, you know, there's certain ways people get painted, there's certain things that happen. At any point, you know, did you feel, was anybody telling you like, man, don't do this out.
Hey, you got
don't,
it.
you know,
You got
don't
it.
put your brand next to Ye. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Tell him what Mike Kaiser said.
but you know what I'm saying? Because, like, and for real, where somebody, because I'm gonna keep it one. I'm gonna keep it 1,000 while with you guys as well.
They was telling free Ty Dolla the whole project.
There was a free Ty Dolla, like let him out the.
My homies at the label was like,
Really?
Let this man kidnap you, man. Free Ty Dolla. They all laughing and shit. And then my manager Manny told him like, yo, when that shit go #1, I want to see the same energy. You feel me?
Right.
Keep that same energy.
So-
Craig Callman said he ain't had nothing to do with
Give
the
it to
project.
me.
People wasn't clearing samples. As to
Give
be
it to
expected.
me, okay?
As to be,
Right.
you know, I'm not saying it's like everything is like to be expected.
Yeah, and you knew that it was gonna be a hard road.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure, yeah, you understood, like, hey, bro, you know, you probably may get some things that you haven't gotten in your career. Not just the #1s. There's some beautiful accolades, but there's probably some things that you hadn't gotten in your career before being aligned, because there's always been work with you guys.
Yeah.
But when you align like that, like how you say, you heard, you know, free Ty Dolla, you know, were you ever concerned about it, but you did hear it.
Yeah, I wasn't tripping. I knew what I was doing. I knew what we was gonna do. And a lot of shit just be drama. People could tell you anything,
Right.
you know? People can have their own opinion off of what they think it is, but this is what it is. We #1. Stop playing with us.